Hello and welcome to the Trekitt Podcast, where we talk about everything outdoor related, from kit and locations to stories and the people behind them. Whether you're a walker, climber, mountaineer or just someone that loves being outside, you can find all the kit and advice for your next adventure on our website, which is www.trekitt.co.uk. Or you can actually come and speak to a real person right here in our service centre in Hereford.
Hello and welcome to the Trekitt Podcast. You may notice that this is not Paul, and I don't look like Paul if you're watching. I'm Harry, and I'm the one who's usually behind the camera. I have actually filmed a few videos, but you won't have seen those yet. They will be coming out soon. But the reason that I'm presenting this one and not Paul is because we've actually recorded this twice now. So this is the second time round. So the first time we had some technical issues involving cameras overheating. So just the two of us today. So I should introduce my guest, which is my good pal Kaleigh.
Hello.
Who also works at Trekitt. Would you like to explain what you do in Trekitt?
Hi, I'm Kaleigh. I'm one of the buyers here at Trekitt and have been for about probably 9 months now, or coming up to 9 months. But I've been with Trekitt for about 2 years and started off over in the warehouse. And then in customer service, and now in buying.
Done the rounds.
Yeah, so where next? Not sure.
No idea. Well, videos.
Videos
Videos
podcasts.
is what we're doing next. That's a little bit of insider info there. So basically the reason I've got Kaleigh on the podcast today, and the reason that I'm in the podcast today as well, is that we have been walking the Cotswold Way. So we've been doing this over the last, when did we start? Like May, June?
Ages ago.
Quite a while. So we've had we've walked in every single season. We've done a little bit in the summer in May, June time. And then we've been doing it, week by week. And it's 102 miles total, I think. So we've just been doing sort of 10 to 15 miles a day over most whichever weekend that we could manage to fit in. And now we're only, at this point, we're about between sort of 6 and 9 miles away from the finish point.
Yeah, we're not quite sure. We haven't worked it out yet, but
no, we haven't.
We're not far away.
No, we're really close. So we're doing that fairly soon. But basically, the theme of this podcast, as you will have seen by the title, is what to expect from a multi-day hike. So we thought it very applicable to have us on here talking about our sort of recent experience with the Cotswold Way. Mm-hmm. And this is your first this is your first multi-day hike, isn't it?
It is. I was a complete novice before.
Yeah. So I've done a few in the past. I did some in college. I've done some since, but they haven't been very sort of structured. They've just been quite sporadic. We've just sort of gone out and done a walk and camped somewhere, wherever we could. But this time, we've actually planned it a lot more. We say we.
Harry has planned it
a lot more. So we've actually planned it, brought along proper maps, brought along food, booked accommodation for a few different legs, I suppose, and then we did camp on one of the legs as well, we will cover that later. But to start with, I think we should talk about rucksacks, because the first thing to expect really when you do a multi-day hike is that unless you've done a lot of preparation, your back and your legs aren't really prepared for a heavy rucksack. And also you can have the best rucksack fit in the world. I mean, we do pretty good rucksack fits here. Ben does them really well. You might know Ben from the videos. However, when you get out on the trail, you adjust it quite a lot. You do faff with it quite a lot.
Yeah, it's never quite right to begin with.
And you found that especially because you've gone through a few different rucksacks.
I have.
Which ones?
I think I've done 3 throughout. I started off with the Tempest, Osprey Tempest, and then I had a Fjallraven Abisko for the second leg, I think.
Yeah, second.
And then for the last couple of legs, I've actually taken one from our kit pool, and it's an Osprey Cirrus, which has been pretty good. But
we should probably explain what a kit pool is as well.
Yeah.
That's probably not like a standard thing. So in Trekitt, we get given stuff from brands to sort of test out, I guess. And rather than one person keeping the stuff, we put it in we put it in a room basically, and anyone can go and take stuff. And so we took a few rucksacks from there just to sort of test out. Which do you reckon was the best out of the 3? Which one suited you best? Because
they're all really different as well, because they were all different sizes, and depending on what we'd planned accommodation wise. So the Cirrus was probably the most comfortable because I was using it when I wasn't needing to take many things with me. But I think probably overall the Abisko was the best one, was the most comfortable. A bit heavier perhaps than the Osprey, slightly, but definitely more comfortable.
And do you want to, when I was talking about you adjust your rucksack a lot, I basically, on the first leg, we didn't take a whole lot of stuff. It was in the middle of summer, so we didn't have to take, loads and loads of spare layers. But on the second leg, it was about a month, maybe a month and a bit later, we decided that we wanted to camp.
Yeah.
That felt really different, having a tent and a mat. I mean, that completely changed it. When you're walking with 5 to 8 kilograms versus 10 to 12, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a massive difference, isn't it?
We also got the tent from the kit pool.
Tent was from the kit pool too, yeah.
But the pack was really, really heavy then. For me, I think, looking at photos from the day.
And straight from the car park, it was literally just like car park and then straight up.
Straight up in
this big wood. So
then straight down.
Yeah, exactly. Which was the theme of the trip, really. It was just up, down, up, down. You think Cotswolds, it's all nice and flat and there's lots of fields with nice sheep, and no, it's just up, down. As soon as you get any elevation, you immediately drop back down again.
Yeah.
You always feel like you're 2 steps forwards, 1 step back.
You always know there's going to be a big hill, and then you'll come down again, and then go up again.
Yeah. So straight from the car, it was like a heavy rucksack. You weren't warmed up. We weren't used to carrying this weight.
Hadn't got my poles out yet.
Oh yeah. And then you're sent up this big hill. So it took a little while to adjust to that. That was strange. But then also, you then had a slight mishap about a mile in.
Wasn't even that, it was half a mile.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Half a mile.
I tripped over my own feet, feeling rather unbalanced. And I found some brambles, I think.
There was a holly bush.
Oh, was it holly? Okay.
Yeah, we had to protect all the holly bushes from that point onwards, so you didn't just randomly attack them.
Yeah, that hurt a bit. Harry didn't get it on camera though. I don't think he was quite expecting it so soon. So
no, I wasn't.
Got that out the way. So didn't fall over again after that. But
yeah, I think that's pretty good actually. To do 90 miles without only falling over once, especially with all the hills and the slippy bits we've had, that's pretty good going actually.
Yeah.
I've got to give you credit there.
I don't want to jinx it just yet because we still have got a little bit to go. But
final leg into Bath.
Yeah, and I think it's quite hilly, isn't it?
I think so. Not as much as the start though. The start's the worst, around the Broadway Tower sort of area. But then that route wasn't bad, was it?
No, it was nice.
No, it was fine. So yeah, essentially I was walking along. I think I brought this little camera with me to film the antics of the few days because there were 3 of us on this walk. So we brought Jay along, he works in customer services. So the 2 of us were pretty happy, just sort of wandering along, and then all I hear is just this monumental crash. And then just giggling, and I turn around and I see Kaleigh half in a holly bush with a rucksack hanging off to the side, and I was like, oh no, I didn't have my camera out.
Jay coming to my rescue and Harry just laughing. But to be fair, it was quite funny.
Yeah, that was sort of the dynamic. Jay was quite good actually. He was trying to be quite helpful, and he was making sure that you didn't fall over, and then I was a bit further back just waiting patiently for the time that I could take the camera out.
Any slippy downhill bits, Harry was there just in case.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this.
Absolutely. But then the other point I should make about the rucksack is that, like I was explaining earlier, you can have a really good pack fitting, but as soon as you get out, you've got you might pack slightly differently. You might have weight in a different point in the bag. So, you might have used your pack and had the same weight before, but you might have had less water that time. And so where you've got the weight in the bag makes a huge difference. And so you do just end up loosening all the straps off, the shoulder straps, the hip belt, or at least I did, and just starting again. I probably did that 3 times on the walk in total. So that's the first major thing to expect, is that you will adjust your pack a lot. So the next thing on the list is that you see a lot more. It's really hard to explain actually. The best way I can explain it is that when you're going to work, for example, you're getting in the car and you're focused on your commute, you're focused on getting to work, and then you get to work, you do your work, and then you commute home. You're not really paying a huge amount of attention to your surroundings. Obviously you're looking at cars and stuff, but you're not taking in the view because you've got to be...
We're obsessed with cars, so we are. But
yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, when you hear a nice car go past the office, you are just like, oh, what's that? Or a bike. But it's quite different when you're... Well, I suppose if you're walking along with no real sort of agenda, you do just notice a lot more. You notice, I mean, we noticed very nice sticks.
Yeah.
I kept seeing really nice sticks and thinking, that'd be a great walking stick. Or birds or clouds or anything. You just notice a lot more, I guess. Do I sound mental, or is this is this true?
Well, you are a little bit.
Slightly.
Yeah.
But,
I know it's very true.
so it's quite nice, actually. You get into a bit of a trance, I guess. You're not really thinking about all the normal stuff that you think in daily life. You're just thinking about putting one step in front of the other and
trying not to fall over.
Try not to fall over.
But also trying to take in the views.
Yeah, it's nice and relaxing. And when I was filming it, it wasn't quite as relaxing because you're sort of focused on filming stuff. But when you just put the camera away, you put your phone in your pocket, you are just sort of focused on your walk, which is really nice. All of your attention just goes straight towards.
I think it's really rare that I check my phone when we've been out and about. Yeah, I've had lots of messages when I come back to it, but it's nice just to be removed from that. It is hard to explain, but it's not something I necessarily thought about before we went on these walks. But it's kind of like a bit of a relaxation thing. You come away feeling really great after you've done it, and just removed from like everyday life and everyday stress. I recommend it. Get out there.
Yeah,
it's good.
100%. Well, especially the first leg we did was 2 days, and it was the first half of the first day actually it was really, really warm. So most of the day you were thinking, oh my god, I'm really warm.
Too hot.
Yeah, too
actually.
hot. Well, too hot for British people that are used to.
For me, with hills.
Yeah,
too hot for hills.
With the hills. But the second day, most of it was woodland, and it was all quite flat as well. So this was from sort of Cheltenham south, and that was probably one of my favourite parts because we were in this woodland, and there were loads of really old ancient trees everywhere, and then it was sort of in a bit of a valley, and so you had loads of wild garlic up both sides.
Yeah.
And the friend that we were both with, his name's Toby. He's quite into his cooking, and so he was constantly just like picking handfuls of wild garlic.
He had your mum's rucksack on, didn't he?
Yeah, he borrowed my mum's rucksack.
And it now stinks of garlic because it
reeks. So he was stuffing wild garlic into his backpack.
Just get wafts of him as he's ahead of me, always.
Where's Toby? Oh, I'll just find the garlic, and that's where he'll be. So we were walking through this wood for probably about 4 or 5 miles long.
Yeah, a fair while.
Yeah, it was quite a while, and because you've got essentially like the same scenery, and you were quite shaded by this point. You did just sort of. Yeah, you go into this very relaxed mental state. If you're stressed in life, just do a long walk in the Cotswolds. Ideally, it's very, very nice.
Yeah, and the sounds as well. Yeah,
and the sounds of sticks dragging along.
Yeah, that wasn't quite so relaxing.
Do you want to just explain the whole pole situation as well? The fact that you hadn't used poles for a while.
Well, I'd never used poles before, and I think on the first leg I didn't have any. On the second leg I did, but kind of initially was a bit hesitant to use them.
I'd say belligerent.
Okay.
you just had these poles that were really, really nice.
Just alien.
Specifically, and they were just like, no, I'm not going to use them. Don't want to.
Whereas you guys had been like picking up sticks the entire time already from like day one, picking up these sticks, really annoying me, dragging them as you go along. I can't. The sound is it's quite haunting, actually. But yeah, these guys had used sticks, and I thought, okay, they were trying to convince me to use them, and I thought, no, they're heavy, and they're not very nice on your hand.
No.
So anyway, invested in some sticks, proper sticks.
Proper poles, yeah.
Walking poles.
Not wooden sticks from a shrub.
Well, no, actually, I was given some kindly by one of our suppliers, so I thought I must use them. So I took them on the second leg with me. I think after I took a tumble on the second leg, I quickly thought, right, okay, I probably should give these a go for a bit more stability, because we had a lot of kind of slippy, muddy woodland to get through, and that's where I seemed to be falling. So got these poles out eventually, and I've not looked back since.
They're game changer.
They are.
I think that's what Toby said, actually. After we were only picking up singular sticks, because, it's pretty hard to find two that are exactly the same length.
Yeah.
And neither of us had really used walking poles before. And like we've used them in the shop, but not on like a long walk. And we were both amazed at how fast you could walk. You feel way more stable, just absolutely ploughing along with these sticks. You get a few funny looks from people, but would you say that you couldn't do another multi-day hike without them, or you wouldn't want to?
I wouldn't want to. I mean, I could do it, but actually I had a bit of a knee injury going on as well, so they came in really handy, and I think they definitely made me more stable, more confident, and probably gave me a few more miles as well that I perhaps wouldn't have achieved if I didn't have that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're coming with me every time now.
There's another piece of useful advice from this otherwise not very useful podcast.
Or person.
Poles. Or people. Poles are really good. Poles are actually brilliant things.
They are.
I mean, I haven't used proper poles yet, but I'm coming around to the idea of using them.
You should do. And they're super light as well.
Yeah, true. And you didn't use them, you would put them back on your pack sometimes as well, wouldn't you? Like if we went to a pub, for example, you can just put them back on your pack.
Stow them away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, they're really good. I'd recommend, because at first I was like, nah, that's for older people. That's what they use. But actually, no, they're really good.
There's quite a stigma in the UK, especially, that walking poles should only be used by, elderly people that need that support. But it's not the same as like a Zimmer frame or something. It's not so much to stabilize you. It does stabilize
just
you.
Enhance you, to be honest. It allows you just to walk that bit further or faster or steadier, especially coming downhill. I've noticed they've been really useful when it's slippy, just to kind of just to stop yourself going down again.
They're like a cheat code when you're on the flat. I noticed them more on the flat actually than on the uphills and the downhills. You notice that you can walk so much faster, and you've because your arms have got something to do as well. You feel like your shoulders ache a little bit as well, like your shoulders and your lats are aching because you're using your entire body to propel yourself along.
Rather than just your legs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's good. Get some poles.
Let's do it. Get some poles now. You can, right, which corner is it going to be? If you're watching this, it's going to be that corner over there. You can get some poles.
Poles.
Professionals.
Nice.
Okay, so the next thing on my list to cover is that stuff will go wrong. It's the case for any adventure. If stuff doesn't go wrong, it's not a proper adventure. When you think about the best episodes of Top Gear, I'm bringing this back to cars, sorry. When you think about the best episodes of Top Gear, the ones where they go to like Africa in cheap estate cars, stuff goes wrong constantly, but that's what makes it like an unforgettable story.
Yeah.
So the first thing I think we should talk about is kit. Most notably, socks. So obviously, because this was your first multi-day hike, you hadn't really experienced the suffering of wearing incorrect socks before.
No, never.
Would you like to tell the viewers about that scenario?
I wore some socks from a well-known sports brand.
That shall not be mentioned.
Shall not be named. On the first leg. So the first 2 days that we did.
Which was hot.
It was proper roasting. Yeah, and I wore these socks for day one. I think I had had my pair of AccuL Terras on as well that day, which are really, really good, and I have worn them since and been very comfortable. Just for the record. So first day, wore these socks. I can't remember the miles that we covered, maybe about 14 or 15.
Yeah, I think
that day.
First day was actually more like 16.
It was
quite a way.
It was a way, but I think that was because we had a few extra bits to get into Cheltenham.
Yeah, which I hadn't accounted for.
Because of our Airbnb and Harry's first lot of planning. And the Airbnb was lovely, but we'll talk about that later.
It wasn't lovely.
Too.
Spoiler.
So first day, boots, hot weather, rubbish socks, probably had about 10 to 12 blisters.
Which is a lot when
you
think about the size of your feet and how many blisters you can
my feet are quite
fit.
small.
Yeah.
My toes are incredibly small. The majority of my blisters were on my toes, to be fair. So got back to the Airbnb, whipped my socks off. No wonder I was in such pain. I think I had to pad every toe with anything that I could find really for the next day. But we actually went out for dinner that evening, and Harry's probably got some really kind of vivid memory of me just trying to walk.
Well, when we got to this Airbnb, and it took us a while to find it as well because we didn't have I don't know what it is about Airbnb hosts not giving you the code for the door, but we didn't have the code to get in, so we wandered about for a while and we killed some time. And I remember as soon as we got into the Airbnb, we all just lay down on our beds for a bit, and then I remember you standing up to try and attempt to walk across the room, and it was like watching the Tin Man try and walk across this cheap Airbnb in Cheltenham. Just like every limb was completely stretched out and straight in an attempt not to bend or break anything. It was,
I really did myself in.
Yes.
I think that day. And at that point, that was day one. And I thought, what have I let myself in for?
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to be able to walk the next day.
Oh, honestly, I didn't think you were going to make it. I thought we were going to have to ring someone or get like a taxi or something. I didn't think you'd managed it, but
yeah,
some mental resilience you got there.
But I did, and I went on with another pair of rubbish socks the next day.
They were sports socks the second day though, so they were like marginally better, weren't they?
I can't remember what they were the second day.
I swear they were like running socks, like actual
maybe.
sport ones.
Okay, so slightly better.
Yeah.
But
the damage had been done by
a
that
lot
point.
of compedes.
So I think the lesson to be learned here is cotton socks, as we've professed to many times in our videos, are not good for any type of walking for a long distance, because they just absorb the sweat and then you end up rubbing against your boots. So you could have best boots in the world, but if you've got cotton socks, you are going to have a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
So which socks did you take after that leg?
Darn tough socks.
Which were better?
Much better. I
Much
should have known. I mean, I work here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that you don't really, you know that what the correct thing to do is, but you don't realise how much of a difference it makes until you've actually been out and experienced
then
it.
after suffering
Yeah.
for nearly 2 days, I learnt my lesson.
Yep. Whereas I think almost all of my socks are darn tough anyway.
Yeah.
Because again, one of the benefits, I hope this doesn't sound braggy, but one of the benefits of working at Trekitt is that you get some free stuff, and socks are one of the main ones. So thank you, Darn Tough. You are a bunch of legends for continuously giving us socks.
Yeah, thank
Do
you.
you reckon there's a word for being like kitted out, being socked? Being socked
I
out?
don't think so, Harry.
It sounds like being punched.
Yeah,
Being
it's
socked.
horrible.
Okay, we won't be socked.
Socking
then.
it.
Socking it. If Joel was here, he could make some puns. He's good at puns.
Yeah.
Joel also works in customer service.
Who else does?
Jay.
Oh, yeah.
So, moving on from that, my next...
Joel came on a leg as well.
Joel
with
did
us,
come on
our
a leg.
most recent leg.
Yeah, so we've been been
had
inviting...
like guests, haven't we?
Yeah, so we've done every leg so far, but we've been inviting different people to come along on different legs, I guess just to make it interesting, and people seem really keen, actually, to come with us. I didn't think, after all the stories that we've told, especially the one with the cows and the tent,
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone would want to join us.
But we haven't told you about that yet.
No, we will.
Okay.
So this is the segment where stuff goes wrong, and that is one of the things that went wrong.
Yeah.
But the next thing I think we should talk about is my car key situation. So essentially, the way that we were planning this is we would both drive a car to the Cotswolds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about an hour from Hereford to the Cotswolds, which isn't bad. So we'd meet each other at the end point. So you'd have two cars at the end point, and then you'd all pile into one car, drive to the start point, and then obviously you've got a car at both ends, so you don't have to, get a taxi back or walk back the same route. And I, in my ultimate wisdom, I put all of my, expensive belongings, I suppose, like my watch, my wallet, my keys in Kaleigh's glove box.
Kayleigh's car was at the start.
Kayleigh's car was at the start. So I put all of my expensive belongings in the glove box, and then we left feeling, revitalized and ready for the day. And
Harry's car was at the end, by the way.
My car was at the end. And we got I think it was about 8 miles in, like quite a way, maybe 6 to 8 miles.
7, I think. Let's go with 7.
7 works. And we got to this trig point, and I don't know why getting to the trig point triggered this thought, but I went white in the face, and I just stood there thinking, oh my God, I've messed up here, because I'd left my car keys in Kayleigh's glove box, which was at the start, meaning when we got to my car at the end, we wouldn't be able to get into my car.
At the end of how many days as well?
2 days.
2 days.
Was it 2 days? Or was it 3 days?
No, 3.
No, it was 3 days,
oh,
yeah.
Man.
So think you're about 35 miles away from the start point, and I can't get into my car, and so I thought, oh no, how am I going to solve
Luckily,
this?
we realised this on the first day of 3.
Yeah, so the options at
For
this
that
point
leg.
were to either walk back, which none of us really wanted to do, and I should mention by this point that Jay and Kaleigh are wetting themselves laughing. They're finding it hilarious at my misfortune, but I'm really not happy with myself.
After all of your lovely planning.
Yeah, all this planning, and then I fall at the final hurdle. So the options are either you walk back or you get a taxi, or the third option we found is we know someone who lives in Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
So we phoned him, and it's actually Paul's son, Ollie. So Ollie, if you're listening to this, thank you for picking
Ollie.
us up. You saved us lots of money in taxi bills. And I phoned him, and I said, I'm really sorry, but what are your plans for, was it Sunday?
It was like 2 days later, wasn't it?
Yeah, what are your plans for Sunday? And he said, I'm in this area at this point. And I said, would you mind coming and picking us up from X location at 4:00? And he was like, oh yeah, mate, no worries, no problem at all. I thought, oh, you legend, you absolute legend, that saved us. So that was one of my major mess ups, I think, but that was resolved quite quickly.
Yeah, it did mean that we kind of cut our miles short, I think.
Yeah,
on that
we did.
particular one. But that was fine, to be honest, because I think the first day of that leg
Knackered us all out.
was awful. And the reason for that...
So on top of leaving the keys in the car, we also had a slight issue that evening. It was that evening, wasn't it? It wasn't the following day.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell that story? Because I think you tell it better than I do.
Okay. So it was a pretty lengthy day, that
It
one.
was a long one, yeah. It was like probably 14 to 15 miles, but like way more elevation than I thought. I
Yeah.
didn't check the elevation at all.
So after the key saga, Harry also hadn't really checked the elevation for that particular day. We kind of stopped reasonably early
Yeah.
for a pub stop because we
felt like we deserved
we
it.
fancied it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we needed it. So we had quite a big dinner and 1 or 2 pints.
And by that point, you're feeling like very lethargic and relaxed. And we knew that our camping spot wasn't that far away.
But it was
but it
not
was-
far off going dark either,
Mm.
because we probably stayed in the pub longer than we should have done.
Yeah, probably till about 7:30, I think.
Yeah, so we left the pub. Firstly, I think Harry got stung by a crazy wasp.
Yeah, I did. Just this wasp just randomly latched onto my leg for no reason. We were just walking along this road, and then all of a sudden I feel this really searing heat in my leg, and there's a wasp just dangling off me.
Yeah.
Little arse.
So that happened. And then it was made better momentarily by a dog with some corn in its mouth,
It's corn.
which I was then introduced to a song.
Yeah, that song.
I now can't get that out of my head.
It has the juice.
It has the juice.
It has juice.
So that was good. That was nice. We then walked along a canal, which was flat and lovely.
And then we did one of our games along the canal as well,
We did.
which was for anyone it's a very random game. I have no idea why. I don't know where this came from. You have to pick a song with the word heart in the name. Achy Breaky Heart
Yeah.
was the first one. And you replaced it with arse. And I don't know why this is so amusing. Maybe it's because we had a couple of pints. and
Delirious, probably
Not
tired.
enough calories, but it was
Yeah.
hilarious. Arse Burst Into Fire was, I think, probably one of my favourite.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. But anyway, carry
Don't
on.
Go Breaking My Arse was
Don't Go
also
Breaking My Arse.
another favourite. Yeah, so canal, that was lovely. And we were all feeling pretty tired at this point, not realising that we were just shortly about to be faced with a humongous hill.
Monumental hill.
And then another big hill to our camping spot. So I was really tired. My legs had kind of given up on me by this point. Morale in the camp, even given the arse song thing, was pretty low.
Yeah. It was quite quiet, I think. The ascent up that hill was just dead silent.
Yeah, it was just struggle to get up there, to be honest.
Mm.
So we got up there eventually, all looking fairly miserable, but relieved to be at the top of this common, which was beautiful.
We had a cracking view. I mean, that was quite nice, actually. You had all the turmoil of having to go up this giant hill full of food and not feeling like you wanted to. But when you get to the top of the hill, you can just see, it was quite dark by this point, and so you've just got all these little flickering lights from whatever village/town we'd just ascended from. That was quite nice.
That was nice. And then we picked our spot to put the heavy tent up,
Mm-hmm.
which we did. But I think it was as we just put it up.
Yep.
about 14, 15 cows
Yes.
descended on us. And
Big cows.
They were quite intrigued. So we're knackered. It's dark. We've just got the tent up and we're thinking, yeah, we've been to the pub. That's lovely. We can't wait to get in the tent and have a decent sleep. And then these cows appear.
Yep.
And they don't leave us alone.
No.
And we can't get in the tent.
If you know the countryside and you know cows, the one thing you don't do is make yourself interesting by running around and doing interesting things. So the thought was, we'll walk away, we'll leave the tent on its own, we'll turn our head torches off, and we'll just sit there and wait.
We did.
And they were there for ages. They were just, I remember them, they kept twanging the guy lines, they kept tripping over the guy lines. We found, like, after they'd gone, which was quite a while later, I found cow spit all over the fly sheet of this tent. So that wasn't fun. I had like a big sinking feeling when those cows...
Yeah.
Not because I thought they were going to break the tent. I was just so tired. I just thought, oh, how long is it going to take them to go so that I can go to sleep?
That was definitely the hardest day of the whole Cotswold Way for me.
Yep.
So yeah, we did eventually get in the tent and we did get to sleep.
For a while.
For a little bit.
Yeah.
Until about 1 a.m.
Yeah, 1 a.m. All I heard, I'm lying down, I'm fast asleep, and then all of a sudden I hear... And it's this, there's probably 2-3 cows by my head, and I instinctively just shoot up. I mean, I sit up, upright.
Bolt upright. I did the same.
Which woke Kaleigh up. Yeah.
But Jay was just flat out.
Yeah, it was like, I was thinking there are several tons of cows outside the tent. If I get trampled on, I'm a goner.
Yeah.
And I assumed he was the same. Jay just didn't care at all.
He didn't care. I think he was so tired.
If I die, I die.
Yeah. So we didn't have a good sleep that night.
I felt awful.
Yeah.
I was just stressed. I remember when I woke up, probably like 6 a.m. because it was the summer, and when you're in a tent, you just sort of wake up when it gets light. I felt like I was still really stressed.
Yeah.
Like you'd just been through some sort of trauma.
Yeah.
But the coffee helped substantially.
Well, you took a mocha pot,
yeah,
didn't you? Which we'll perhaps come on to later. But we needed that day.
We did, yeah. We needed the coffee.
And of course, by the time we actually got up and it was light, there were already people walking along the common. So I couldn't even go for a wee.
Yeah, there were runners everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
and dogs.
Yeah, like 5:30, 6 a.m. You hear slightly higher pitched snuffles outside your tent. And luckily they weren't cows. They were just nice, friendly doggos and runners. But it's probably not a frequent sight to see a 3-man tent on the top of a common in the middle of summer. But
there we are.
Yeah, there we are.
So we kind of had our porridge and coffee and packed up and went on for the day. And little did we know that we'd have another bit of a slog of a day, really. I think we were just so tired from the day before that we cut our miles short.
Yeah.
And there were no toilet stops along the way, so I had a long few hours. And then I think we ended up getting into Dursley, didn't we? And found coffee and toilets, and then decided that perhaps we wouldn't tent.
We wouldn't complete it.
We wouldn't tent again this evening. We cut our day short by quite a bit, and we ended up finding a lovely last-minute hotel. Can you call it a hotel?
I don't know. It's
maybe once upon a time.
Somewhere between a slum and a hotel, isn't it?
Yeah, we found a lovely hotel.
Which we will not name. We don't want to be deflammatory.
We cannot name it.
No.
But it was pretty horrific.
So I think we were supposed to do about 10 to 12 miles this day, and we ended up doing about 7.
Yeah.
So I don't know whose idea it was to look at hotels.
I think it was yours, Harry. I think we'd all had enough by this point.
Yeah. So we were sat outside.
We knew that there was going to be another big hill.
Yeah.
Just after Dursley. So we kind of sat there with our coffees and thought, I'm quite comfortable here now.
Yeah. Should we just sack it off?
Yeah, and then there was a really cheap hotel. I don't know why it was quite so cheap.
Which we found out quite quickly. We were sat at this little table outside thinking, why is this hotel so cheap? It was £60 a night, so 20 quid each.
The reviews were fine.
Yeah, the reviews were fine. It was all good. So we booked it.
We booked it.
And then we went to have a look. Well, Kaleigh and I went to have a look whilst Jay, I don't know what he was doing, shopping or something.
I don't know.
So we went to have a look, and it was terrible. If you imagine quite let's say, a characterful building.
Yeah.
Lots of character.
It's
At
quite a
some
cool
point,
building.
it would have been really nice, but it was just in a state of disrepair in
Yeah.
the sense that you walk through the front door and it's sort of like an old, like a really old Weatherspoons before it's had any sort of renovation.
Yeah.
So like really sticky carpets and the tables are
If the
horrible.
carpets were intact.
Yeah.
Holes in the wall.
Holes in the wall. Upstairs, the floor had caved in.
Yeah.
So like the floorboards had caved in and the only thing keeping it structural was the carpet.
This carpet. And then we got to our room and actually we were pleasantly surprised.
It was okay.
Because compared to the rest of the place, the room was quite nice.
It was just about manageable, yeah.
Standard. Nothing really worked. The shower was kind of hanging off. You
That
had to
fell
hold
off.
it up. Yeah.
Well, it fell off and I had to put it back in upside down to get it to stay up.
Yeah.
Which is not what you want after a day of walking. You just want a shower and
Anyway,
a comfy
I think
bed.
it was better than being in a tent with
Hugely,
cows.
yeah.
So we took it for what it was. And I think by about 4 p.m, we'd found a pub.
We'd found a really nice pub. I can't
Yeah.
remember the name of it, but if you're watching this, I'll put it on the screen actually, because they deserve a little shout out.
Yeah.
They had one of the nicest ales that I've ever tried
Mhm.
from Ely Brewery. Another little shout out there.
Yeah.
That was really cool. So we were just sat at this table, 4:30 p.m. or something,
Uh-huh.
and we just thought, oh, we'll just stay here, shall we? We'll just stay here for the rest of the evening.
The recommendation came from a guy that had a bike shop in Dursley.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
Didn't it?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So that's thank you to him as well.
Yep.
So we found that pub and then I think we had pizza and then went to bed fairly
was it.
early, but didn't sleep because lots of noise.
Oh, well, I slept quite well.
Yeah, I
think
didn't.
it was the intermittent. There was a fan outside our window, and it was still pretty warm. So we had our window open, and there was a fan that kept turning itself on every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
and that kept you up, didn't it?
And also music until 3 a.m. downstairs.
That was a different pub, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, was that? Oh, okay.
No, the other pub that we stayed in after that was until 1 a.m. So that was quite sensible.
Okay.
Yeah, we've not... Basically, Harry's been banned from booking any future accommodation because the stuff that he books is awful.
Yeah. There's another little Trekitt top tip. Don't go on Airbnb and sort by price lowest to high,
No,
because although the reviews look okay, they're not.
no. So there we are. So that was that. That was that bit. So we had a bit of a kip, a little bit,
Yeah.
and then we're faced with the next big hill. And then obviously we ended up then that day having Ollie come to collect us to take us back to my car.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I think that day was only about 7 miles.
Again, it was cut short, wasn't
It
it?
was really nice. I think the key with these trips is that you don't want to exert yourself so much that you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
The whole point of us doing it was we really wanted to enjoy it and like savor the time. So having to suffer your way through was not on our agenda.
No,
So
be flexible.
exactly, yeah. The more time you give yourself to do the mileage, the more you enjoy it. The more
Yeah.
you see, the more you can stop in nice pubs. You can chat to people. You don't just want to have your head down, just like on one. For the
I think
entire
we
day.
did that a little bit on the very, very first day. We marched it.
That wasn't our fault though.
Along with my socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't end well.
I should mention that the reason that we marched it is because my friend Toby has one speed,
Yeah.
and that is
Fast.
full all the time.
Yeah.
No relenting, just full. If there's anyone else, he wants to catch them.
It's kind of like a Labrador.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
He likes food.
Yeah.
He's always excited.
Yeah.
Loves people.
Smells all right though. It doesn't smell like a Labrador.
No, it just smells like garlic.
Yeah.
So I think that summarizes the sort of this stuff will go wrong
Yeah.
portion. We didn't have any major disasters, honestly. It was just the things that went wrong were good stories to tell, like
Yeah.
we're doing now. I'm quite glad they happened because otherwise it would have been nowhere near as interesting.
Mm. And also maybe don't drink too much beer en route.
True. Yeah. Have an espresso instead,
Yeah.
like something that will give you a decent boost of caffeine, but not with the all the calories in it.
But maybe we'll come on to that a bit later again.
Yeah, possibly.
Cool.
So the next thing I think we should talk about is kit. So we brought a load of stuff which worked really well, and we brought a load of stuff that didn't work really well. So the one piece of kit that I think worked for me the entire time was my backpack, which was the same one that you used for the second leg,
Yeah.
which was a Fjällräven Abisko Freeluft, because I've used that on multi-day treks before, and that's been absolutely spot on. That is one of the most comfortable rucksacks I've ever had. One piece of kit that didn't work is I made the mistake of wearing a pair of, they are like semi-technical, but they're the Rab Radius shorts, the ones that are like half cotton, half polyester. And they're really nice shorts. They're comfortable and they're great if you were going to do like bouldering, for example. But in summer, where it was like mid-20s to early 30s, they were just too hot and they ended up rubbing after quite a while. So I think one of my recommendations if you're doing it in the summer, either wear like really lightweight soft shell shorts or do what I did and wear just gym shorts. They were so nice, just like really nice and packable. You can swim in them if you want and they'll dry out really quickly. We didn't actually go for it. We didn't do any swimming on this entire thing.
We haven't done any swimming.
Weird. Maybe we'll have to do in Bath.
Were there any spots to do swimming?
I mean, there was that one really scummy lake by that water treatment plant.
That looked awful. That looked radioactive.
It did, yeah.
Nuclear.
It was it like a bright blue? Yeah, it was an odd colour.
Yeah.
So were there any pieces of kit that you just absolutely wouldn't take again, that wouldn't work for you?
Just rubbish socks, really.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't take again.
Your pack, one of your packs didn't fit you.
It was the initial pack that I took, the Osprey Tempest, and that was partly my fault because I hadn't had it fitted.
Okay.
So I had a longer back length on it than perhaps I needed. I've got long legs and a little back, so
same.
So that really, but I think perhaps if it had have been the smaller back length, it would have been perfect. It's a good pack. It's a really good pack, and I still continue to use it, but not perhaps in that capacity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could have done with a shorter back length on that. The Abisko was a much better fit for me, thanks to Lucy for letting me borrow that one.
Shout out to Lucy.
Thanks, Luce. So there's nothing really that I wouldn't take. I think definitely for the first leg, I packed way too much stuff that I didn't need. So I think you can be really strict with what you're going to need. You can actually wear something for a second day running if it's good kit.
Yeah. I wore the same base layer both days. I think on a few occasions as well, because I was wearing Darn Tough socks, I wore those for 2 days.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they need a wash. They don't smell. They don't feel like they've absorbed anything.
No, it is good to get them off though at the end.
Yeah, definitely, just to air them out.
Actually, on the very last leg we did, I wore an icebreaker for the first time, Oasis 200, and that was really good. It didn't smell. It was quite a cold day that day, so I had layered up, but it kept me at a really good temperature.
Yeah, those are brilliant.
Throughout. So that's a bit of kit that I would definitely use again.
Yeah, well, as I alluded to earlier, in the sense that we'll be doing more videos, I have just done a video actually where it'll be out fairly shortly, probably in the next 2 weeks or so, where I wore one icebreaker base layer for 7 days solidly. So I didn't wear anything else on top half next to skin, and it was really impressive. You'll have to wait for the video to come out, but those icebreakers are really, really, really good.
They're definitely worth the money.
I would highly recommend them. Although they do cost initially a bit more than your equivalent polyester. They are unfeasible for me, at least in cold weather.
Yeah, I've not found anything quite like it, so would recommend. Otherwise, I mean, my Akus have been out again with good socks, and they've been wonderful.
Yeah.
There's not a lot really.
No, I suppose when we're surrounded by the amount of good kit we've got, it's quite hard to find something that's
bad.
Doesn't. Yeah, that's bad. Like we don't stock anything that's bad at all. It's just there's certain stuff that works for some people that doesn't work for others, and that's why we have so much choice.
Yeah,
that's why we've got
fits.
So many different base layers.
Yeah.
Rucksacks. It's really hard to buy a rucksack online because, as you said earlier, you can buy one, and even if the back length is just slightly off, you'll find that it will rub in a certain place, or it won't fit you just perfectly.
It was just catching my lower back, and it was just enough to be uncomfortable. It wasn't a major issue, but it definitely made me think about using a different pack for the next time. So it is important to get it right.
I think the one thing that I wouldn't take next time, it's not kit we sell. When I was saying earlier that when we camped, I was saved in the morning by coffee. Yeah. That's because I brought a mocha pot. And the good thing about a mocha pot is that the coffee that comes out of it is really, really nice. It's good quality, but it does mean that you need to carry the mocha pot itself, which doesn't compress in the slightest. You need to carry a stove, you need your ground coffee itself. You need a spoon.
You need a mug, which
and a mug.
Jay and I didn't take. So we
bought mugs.
we bought tiny
And then
little
left them in the
espresso mugs from Sainsbury's. We can't say that. Can we say Sainsbury's?
Yeah, we can see. We're not the BBC. We can say Sainsbury's. Yeah.
Sorry about that. From Sainos.
Other retail establishments are available.
Yeah. So we bought some little highly impractical mugs. Yeah.
And then left them on the dashboard in the car.
Not me. I
Oh.
took mine.
Okay.
Jay left his.
Just Jay.
Forgot it.
So it was really nice to have good coffee, but the good thing about the Cotswolds is that you're only a few miles from a pub or a cafe almost all the time.
Mostly.
Yeah, mostly. There are a couple of points that are a bit more remote, but most
Yeah.
of the time there's country pubs everywhere. So I wouldn't take the mocha pot next time. I would just wait because that was quite a lot of extra bulk.
Yeah.
That I
And
didn't
wait. Really.
But what I would do is I would leave the mocha pot at home and I would bring more jelly babies.
Yeah.
And that's they were
They were the snack.
fundamental to the success of our walks.
Yeah.
Like kilogram bags of jelly babies stuffed into the hip belt pockets of your rucksack were a
Fit perfectly.
lifesaver.
Yeah.
Mm.
We love jelly babies.
Jelly babies are life.
Can we say jelly babies?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think that's a category, isn't it?
As you
It's
can tell, I've
like-
not done these, not done a podcast before, so I don't know what you can and cannot say.
I think we can say whatever we want as long as we're not rude to anyone.
No.
Because they might get upset with us, and
Hmm.
we don't want that.
No, jelly babies.
Yeah, and flapjacks,
Flapjacks, also winner. Bananas, great but heavy.
and they get squished.
And they do get squished.
Your sandwiches
Oh,
as
my
well.
sandwiches got squished.
Both of us put our sandwiches in probably not the ideal place in the rucksack, and we pulled them out at this one pub stop, and they were just flat. They were quite easy to eat, but just flat.
Just flat. But it was
Yeah.
fine because I think at that point I had half a pint anyway.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I didn't mind too much.
Other than that, like we were saying earlier, coffee rather than pints when
Yeah.
you're sort of mid-walk is recommended,
Yeah.
unless it's like a really warm day and you fancy a cider. But like ales and Guinnesses and stuff,
Heavy stuff is hard.
yeah, not
It
recommended.
feels good at the time. And then maybe about half an hour to an hour later, when you're back walking again, you feel quite sluggish.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. I think that rounds it up quite well, unless
Yeah.
there's any other major sort of things that we should tell the viewers, what else they can expect from a multi-day hike. I mean, ours is quite specific to the Cotswolds,
Yeah.
but the points we've made apply to most multi-day hikes you'll do in the UK. Try not to pack too much stuff, bring plenty of snacks,
Yeah.
factor in loads of time to look at, where you are, to stop at pubs, to take photos.
Because there will be things that you come across en route that you didn't expect to see, like towers and things like that.
Yes.
Mm.
Towers in North Nibley.
North
If
Nibley.
you're in North Nibley, there's a cracking tower with a brilliant view.
There are some good names in the Cotswolds as well.
Yeah.
We've enjoyed them a lot. Old Sodbury was another firm favourite
There's
of
so
ours.
many
I think
Sodburys.
Jay is going to name his home bar the Old Sodbury.
The Old Sodbury. There's
Yeah. If
Old
he doesn't,
Sodbury,
he'll be in trouble.
Chipping Sodbury.
Yeah.
I think there's a few actually.
But North Nibley was good.
Yeah, that was a really nice location. If you're a keen mountain biker as well, there are loads and loads of really good trails there.
Yeah, it's all I've
And then-
heard the entire trip is that, this would be good for mountain biking. Oh, look at that.
Or
Or-
that log looks nice. Let's roll it down
Let's
that hill.
throw that. Health and safety officer I am. Harry, no, that doesn't look safe.
Well, I was checking to make sure there weren't any footpaths below us.
Mm.
But yeah, throwing things down hills or off small cliffs is very fun, but
Yeah.
maybe not advisable.
I've resisted the entire trip, although we do still have some final miles to cover. So
Yeah, we do.
we've got a group of us together, actually. We've normally just had one person come along with Harry and I, each leg. But this time we think we're going to finish on a high. We're ending up in Bath. So we're trying to get a group of Trekitteers together to finish the route. So that should be good. I think that's going to be mid-January, one weekend mid-January. So.
Yeah, and there's so far I think there's 7, 8 of
Yeah.
us, which will be really nice. It'd be nice to have more people. Just to sort of experience it with us because it is brilliant. I really
Yeah.
enjoy doing it, and I think we're going to do another one after this, aren't we?
We are. We just don't know quite where yet.
I'd like to do the West Highland Way.
Yeah, we've
And
looked at that. And
If you're watching this on YouTube, please tell us which, in the UK, please, which way should we do next? Should it be the West Highland, the Hebridean, something in Wales, please tell us.
Let us know.
Open to recommendations.
We think we might have just about got the hang of it now.
Yeah. As soon as we go to Scotland, though, it's all going to be thrown out the window.
Change.
We're going to need midge repellent and more clothing.
Cold.
There won't be as many pubs.
Yeah.
It's going to be, well, we'll do it in summer.
Cotswold Way has been a good kind of starter practice one.
Yeah, an introductory walk. If you've not done one before, the Cotswolds is a brilliant place to do it. It's not, we say it's hilly, it's not too bad. They're small hills, most of them. They're smalls ups and downs. There's lots of nice pubs. Most of the people are nice. The villages are lovely.
Yeah.
There's toilet stops every now and again. But do plan ahead. If you find a pub with a toilet, use it. Yeah,
definitely. Even if you don't need to go, you need to try.
Just do it.
But yeah, it's been good. And my fitness has improved as well.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because I'm by no means a hiker. And the first few days were a shock to the system. But my average heart rate has reduced.
Yeah, and, hugely. It's like almost halved in most cases.
I've definitely felt, I mean, I've been running as well, but it's come on. I'm feeling more comfortable on the hills now as well. So yeah, it's achievable for pretty much everybody, I think. Get
even
out there.
Even if you've got very little experience, I mean, it helps to go with someone who's relatively competent at the sort of map reading side of things.
Yeah.
But really, you can learn all of this really easily. There's so many tutorials online.
Most of it is signposted as well.
That's very true. Yeah. In the case of the Cotswolds, most of it is really well signposted.
Yeah. You can't go too far wrong. And you'll meet some lovely people as well.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll show you the right way if you do go the wrong way.
Hopefully.
But basically, you only it's north to south. You just have to keep going north. Even if you just had like the compass on your phone and you generally pointed it in the right direction, you'd make your way there somehow.
Yeah.
You might have to do some hitchhiking, but you'll be fine.
Kind of like excited to have nearly finished it.
Yeah.
But also a little bit like, oh, what do we do now?
Yeah.
So we do need to find something else. So please recommend some stuff to us.
Yeah. We also need to get some badges.
Yes.
I was thinking if we were absolutely minted, we could buy watches and have the watches engraved, couldn't we? I thought that was a brilliant idea. I was looking at watches yesterday and I thought, if you could buy a nice watch and have like, I don't know, some Cotswold Way type thing and a date on the back, that'd be really nice.
Yeah.
But sadly, we can't drop several £1,000s just willy-nilly on every long distance
So just
walk.
a patch on my bag, whichever bag I decide to keep using, it can go on that one.
Yeah, and eventually we'll have a wall or a rucksack that's just covered in patches from various locations.
Yeah, and Harry's got lots of lovely footage of me as well to remember the trip by.
Some of which I'll have probably put in this video.
Oh, they're awful.
Lots of mugshots.
Yeah.
The one where you're posing in front of the deer, I think, is my favourite on Broadway
When I
Tower.
blink and you catch it.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
Just zoomed way too far
picture
in.
right there, isn't it?
It's like the classic when you get your parents to take a photo and they start zooming in on the phone and you just get this little pixelated shot of
There's
just
no
your
deers
face.
in the picture. It's just my face.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's been good.
To save you having to listen to more of this tripe, we're probably going to wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So as we said, if you've got any recommendations for places to visit, then please let us know which way we should do next. And if you've got any stories of your own as well, let us know.
Yeah.
What is the worst experience you've had on a multi-day hike? And what's the best experience you've had? Yeah, please let us know.
Yeah.
Right, that's all from me then.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, driver.
Bye. Bye.